everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be making a minimal supplies Minnie Mouse shaped birthday card. Lots going on in this video, but it's actually very simple and has very minimal supplies. So I am using a Hero Arts Nesting Infinity circle die. I'm using some colored cardstock from Paper Studio, white cardstock from Paper Studio, and the glitter cardstock I'm using today is, I believe, from American Crafts. I've had that paper pad for probably 15 years. So I'm pretty sure it's not made anymore, but you can get glitter cardstock from many other sources. We're also going to be using a 123 punch board from We Are Memory Keepers. I went ahead and did a bunch of die cutting off screen. I am sorry, I'm so zoomed in right now. I am going to correct that in just a little bit, but for now, we're really close. We're really up close and personal. I did some die cutting off screen. I just chose a larger circle and then one die set that was one circle die that was smaller to form the two ears. So here I just kind of wanted to clean up the back of this glitter cardstock. Like I said, I've had it forever and ever and ever, and I just kind of wanted to shore it up a little bit and clean it up a little bit. So I used some scrap, just Paper Studio cardstock to cut an identical circle out so that I could layer those two together, give it a little more heft, and kind of clean up the insides of it. And I just did that to the glitter cardstock pieces for now. And then I'm just setting my kind of Stampin' Bug over the top just to help those kind of adhere together a little bit better. Now I'm going to use the grid on my glasswork surface just to kind of help me plan out a little bit better how I want this what makes it actually look like Minnie Mouse. So here I'm going to take some liquid glue. The liquid glue worked just fine as long as I gave it plenty of time to dry and didn't fiddle with it. If you're discovering that your liquid glue is not working with your glitter, go ahead and try to use a dry adhesive. So like a double-sided tape or a tape run or something to that effect. And maybe that will work a little bit better for you. But I discovered with this reptile glue, if I gave it plenty of time to dry and set my magnets on top of it, we're gonna shake the camera a second here. I didn't have any problem with this adhering together very well. So I'm just gonna take my little magnets apart and magnetize this to my desk and use this to kind of help hold this in place while it dries. Now we're going to move into the 123 punch board. So with this punch board, you can make a bow. I usually use it for envelopes, but you can actually make bows with it. So I am following the instructions for a small bow. I probably could have done the extra small, but Minnie Mouse actually has a really ginormous bow, so this is fine. So in order to do this, you need 3 pieces of cardstock, one that is 1 by 8, one that is 1 by 4 1/4, and then one that is 1/4 by an inch. And I am following the instructions that's on this. So I started with the 1 by 8 inch and I put that on the 4-inch mark, and then I'm punching in the middle, essentially, and then I'm flipping it and punching it again in the middle. Then it said to align it at the bow guide, and you essentially punch all 4 corners. And then it has a little picture in the top that shows you what that piece should look like. So what your longest piece should look like when it's all done being punched. Then I moved on to the second piece. This measures 1 by 4, and it said to line it up at the 2 and the 8th, punch and flip again and line it up at the 2 and the 8th and punch again. And then it said to line it up at the middle mark. So on that kind of aqua blue button, there is something that says middle mark. And so I'm just trying to line that up in the center as best I can, and then you flip it again and punch one more time. This is very fast. You can always slow down the video in your settings. There's a little gear in the top right, and you can actually change the speed to slower if you need it to go a little bit slower. But the purpose of this video was not the punch board. The purpose was to focus on this shaped card. So if you need this to go a little bit slower, you can always slow it down in your settings. But it's really not hard. Those punch boards are so well thought out. They're a fantastic tool. I really do highly recommend them. So this is all the pieces you should have, and this will create the bow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this larger piece. This actually makes the bow part. And I'm going to grab some reverse tweezers and some liquid glue, and I'm just going to add a little tiny dot of glue on this very end. It kind of has a little nubbin, I guess you could say. And I'm just adding a little dot of glue there. and I'm going to hold that in place for a second, and then I'm going to add another dot of glue to this other side, and then make that meet in the middle. I'm also trying to kind of line up those curves so that they're lined up fairly well. If you had when you're making a bow like this, I do recommend paper that is like double-sided. So this is a solid cardstock, so it's not a big deal. But if you wanted to have some sort of pattern, your other side of your paper is going to show from the sides. So if that bothers you, be kind of conscious of what kind of paper you're using. That doesn't bother me. And again, this is solid cardstock, so it's the same on both sides, so it's not a big deal. Once that I felt like that was secure, I am taking the second largest piece. This is the B piece, and I am adhering those together. Again, lining up those curves, and that gives you kind of like the tails of your bow. And then I'm going to let that dry for just a little bit, and we're going to move on to the actual like shaped card. So I'm just going to leave my reverse tweezers on there, acting as a third hand, and let that dry. What I'm going to do here is I'm trying to line up, essentially make a duplicate of this black glitter cardstock. So I'm going to take the 3 remaining circles that I have, and I'm going to kind of line them up, and I'm going to glue them together so that they will match perfectly with this black glitter one. So what I did is I took the black glitter, I made it face down, I made the glitter face down onto my work surface. Then I lined up the big circle first, and then I used my magnet to kind of hold that in place. So as I was kind of working with this, I didn't have a whole bunch of shifting around. And then what I'm doing is I'm taking the smaller circles and I'm lining those up. So, and then I'll add just a little bit of glue behind on the larger circle, and then I will adhere these smaller circles in place. This is actually way harder to explain. It's as opposed to actually doing it. Shaped cards are not difficult. Once you find this like particular technique, they are not difficult at all. And they are a lot of fun, and they're very interesting. They're something that you're not going to find in the store. So now I'm just leaving my magnets on that to let those ears dry. And I'm taking the C piece of our bow, which is the 1 by 1/4 inch, and I'm just wrapping that around the center. This kind of gives you the middle part of the bow, I guess you could say. And I'm just going to wrap that around, and from behind adhere that so that the quote unquote seams are in the back. You don't actually have to add this center part if you don't want to. And you could always add like an embellishment in here, a big rhinestone or, something like that. But I chose to go ahead and use the paper piece and wrap that around from behind and make my bow that way. Just like the punch board says. Now I have brought in my scoreboard, and what I'm going to do here is take the white section. I have not glued this to the glitter part, so I just needed the glitter part to make an exact duplicate of the Minnie Mouse face. So what I'm doing here is I'm kind of trying to make sure that this is lined up in my scoreboard as best as possible, as straight as possible. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just create a score line. Give me about, 3/8 to 1/2 of an inch score mark to the right of the score. I'm going to have about 1/2 to 3/8 of an inch to work with. This is what is going to make I'm trying to show you that there. I'm not doing a very good job. This is what is going to make our card have a fold, but the fold is on the back of the card and not the front of the card. So the front looks very seamless, and it's just exciting when you unfold it because it is shaped and opens up. So I'm going to take my bone folder and just kind of crease those folds, and then I'm going to add glue to the right hand or to the top above those score marks that we just made. And that's the only place I'm going to add glue. If you add glue anywhere else, you're going to seal your card shut. and you don't want that. You want this to actually open. So I'm going to add some glue to the top of those and then line these up as best I can. And then once again, put my magnets on top just to let this dry. This is that 1/2 to 3/8 is all that is holding this card together. And so you want to make sure that that is secure and adhered very well before you start messing with it. So now I'm convinced that all of my pieces parts are good to go, and I am going to go ahead and show you that it opens up. And I'm just going to kind of use my fingers to kind of reinforce that fold. If this, I guess where all of the circles kind of meet bothers you, you can always add another like circle to that of the same size and kind of cover up quote unquote seams if you wanted to, but that doesn't bother me. Here I'm trying to figure out the best place to put this bow. I should have probably gone with the extra small, but again, Minnie Mouse has a ginormous bow and she's a mouse, so it doesn't really matter. So I just kind of dropped the bow down a little bit lower so that you could still see the top of the ears. And then I'm going to once again apply some liquid glue and use my reverse tweezers to kind of hold that in place. And that is the card complete. So I appreciate you spending time with me. I hope you feel inspired to break out some basic things and make a shaped card. Until then, we will see you next time. Bye.